name's Riley Schofner, and I'm a rising high school senior, and today I'll be presenting on the LGBTQ plus portrayals of a Cartoon Network show called Steven Universe. One of my favorite shows. I'm sure many of you like it as well. So I'm a Zoomer. I come from Generation Z, and that means that I was born from 1995 to a later period of around 2001. So what does that mean? Well, that means I don't want a white picket fence. I want a caring, free world that cares about LGBTQ plus representation. So this means that we care about how we have a diverse youth, and we don't support things like evil corporations. We want these television shows and these corporations showing how important representing different people are. Major problems are within this LGBTQ plus community. There's a 50% suicide rate, particularly in transgender people. And why? What causes this? Well, it feels like a crisis of identity, and we need to figure out a way to solve this. Additionally, there's domestic violence within this community. 44% of lesbian women have experienced domestic violence. 61% of bisexual women have experienced it. 1 in 4 people know that they've experienced some form of rape before the age of 10. And 20% of adolescents are spending adolescents are spending 20% of their time looking at a screen. So this means that that screen has to have a major impact on their life. So what are we showing these kids? Well, recently we can talk about how there's these misrepresented television shows and underrepresented shows. Some of these characters, like Smithers, or some of the characters from South Park, are always the butt of the joke. They're supposed to be funny to you, these characters, like they're freaks. So these television shows, we need to be LGBTQ plus inclusive, because there's a major impact on young people when they're watching these shows. That makes them understand their identity more and understand other people's identities as well. So look at Japan television shows. Look at Yuri, which loves these lesbian relationships, and Yaoi of these homosexual relationships. Why can't Americans follow? These things are both profitable, but also, importantly, they're well-made. They're interesting. Let's take a look at, anyone seen Arthur recently? Even though Arkansas seems to have banned this from all their television shows, obviously there's still a problem here. And Mr. Rayburn has accepted himself, but some people still can't. So what's a show that has done this right? And that's Steven Universe. Steven Universe that shows these different gems, and the boy, Steven, and his beautiful relationships with his friends, but more importantly, the relationship he has with himself and his identity. So let's look at some of the main characters. Steven has the gems, an all-female race of women who are battling against monsters, but also fusing, fighting, and loving. What do these gems mean to Steven? Well, they're his family. They take care of him, but more importantly, they fight together as friends. One of the biggest things about their race is their fusion. When two gems fuse, they become one. Their minds meld, and it's a metaphor for a relationship. So all these women are fusing together to become a stronger, more potent version of the two of themselves, like Garnet and Opal. And yet, there's other explorations of outside of this normative space. Steven can fuse with his friend Stevani, and it represents this one person, this trans character who's both male and female. And it's interesting to see how this person is strong, they fight, and look at this, a lesbian kiss, right on the mouth. First time this has ever been on TV. And yet, it's beautiful, it's well done, and these characters aren't tokens. They're not just supposed to be the gay. No, they're more than that. They're depth, and they're fighters. Then Rose Quartz, Steven's mother, a bisexual as well. She both loves women and men. And again, she's not just some lady there who's hypersexual and loves all these people. No, she's a fighter too. And more importantly, she's a leader. The best thing about Steven Universe is that Steven loves every part of himself. His human, his gem, his lesbian friends, and himself. And he is not afraid to fuse with his gem friends and with Stevani to be the best person he can be. I just want to see one thing in these television shows, and that's mindful representation. I want these television shows to not only think about these characters, but write them well, too. Because these young people, they'll be watching this show, and they'll be understanding themselves and others, and exploring the wide mosaic of fairness, justice, and social equality. Because You need to start young. These kids know so little in such a large world, and TV is their safe place. And while they watch these shows, they learn more and more about themselves and others to truly accept the world. My name's Riley Schofner. Feel free to email me, and also check out my blog, rustywinnebago.com. Thank you very much.